How is everyone doing, guys? Today we are going to learn a little bit about the book publishing process. We're going to learn about Natalie, and we're going to learn about her new book that literally was just released today. You can go get it on Amazon. A link is in the description below. But first, let's meet Natalie. Natalie, how are you? I'm going to bring you on. How are you doing? This is Natalie, guys. She's also my good friend. How are you?
I know I
How have
haven't
you
seen you
been?
forever. Good.
I think this is the first time we
Tired.
see each other in like what?
Like 2 months? 3 months? I know it's
Like
been a while since we
actual.
last FaceTimed, I think.
I think we just text and
FaceTimes.
stuff.
Do we text or I think because we're on different schedules, so it's hard. I mean, because I'm over here in California and you're located Texas, so I think you're like 2 hours ahead.
Yeah, I'm too. Yeah, it's like 1:30 there, right? 1:37.
Yeah, about right now. Yeah. No, but I'm doing good, buddy. How about you? I like the background. It's been a while since
Well,
I've done one of these
the background. Oh, yeah,
for
I'm doing
the
good. I just
live.
survived the winter storm last week. This week it was
Yeah, I heard.
like nice 70-degree weather, like LA weather.
Mm-hmm.
Just catching up on work and stuff, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, it's good. I like the glasses, by the way. I need to get some of those.
I just it's a prop. How do you like it?
No, I like it. See, I got these. I'm wearing these because I think I mentioned before our call. I said no, my eyes were bloodshot because
You're
I've
just
been
like,
yeah, well, because prior to like any release date, right? You're on the computer, you're on your phone, sending out emails. So I woke up from a nap earlier and I'm like, oh gosh, my eyes are like red because I'm just like,
yeah.
exhausted, exhausted, but it's exciting though at the same time. So it's a good tired, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good sacrifice. It's like work hard for
Yeah.
what you care about. And that
Yeah,
brings me to my
definitely.
first question is,
Okay.
can you walk us like really quick, like the publishing process of like, so that we can like relate to the work that you put into this?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So Elephant and Skeletons. Skeletons is a new book today that just dropped on Amazon and Barnes. That was a God, it's been in the making since I was in the fifth grade. Originally started as a school assignment. I was an 11-year-old kid. When I was 11 years old, I hated reading, hated writing, but we had to do this project, which was to write a short story and make it look like a book. So we actually had to go out and like do some arts and crafts for the writing assignment. And since then, I just had a blast writing it. And I think growing up as a kid, I always liked the challenges of like, what if? And that idea came in my head, oh, what if this could be published one day? So over the years, I was rewriting the story, making it longer. And the characters were growing up with me. So that's why, like, especially Maddie
Wow.
is,
Okay.
yeah, Maddie, the main character of the book. That's why I like hold him so dearly because it's like he grew up with me when I was like 11, although he stopped at 14 years old because I kept
Okay,
growing up
that's
and he stopped.
insane.
Yeah. But that's
So
kind of
this
I
character has evolved with you over time as you've grown, as you've
it has. Yeah. I mean, definitely it's like gosh, I've known him for how old am I now? 17 years? Something like that.
guys.
I
And if
think
you
yeah,
don't
no
know what
17
we're
years.
talking about, Maddie is a character in her book Elephant.
Yes. The main character.
And yeah, so for those who
Um
don't know.
but that's kind of how I think the publishing process starts. I think you have to have those questions like, what if this can get published? Or, oh, this is impossible. Because sometimes, I'm human. I sometimes get, discouraged too. And over the years, I was like, well, I was pitching Elephant to book agents, publishers. I mean, this got rejected by, every publisher I thought out there, every lit agent. And lit agents are ones that help represent you and help you find a publisher, with like the more bigger publishing houses, like places where we see books like the Twilight series or The Hate You Give or The Fault in Your Stars get released
Yeah,
from.
yeah, I know
Um,
those. Yeah, those are great.
yeah, but I thought like getting those rejections, I was one of those people that would get so distraught, getting that no or getting that hey, it's not our type. But I realized over the years, so something that helped me eventually go the self-published route was I did a lot of research. So I would always look up authors, and in the back of the book still have an acknowledgement page, and every author would say, I think my family, think my friends, my agents, publishers. And my favorite author growing up, like especially when I was a teenager and in college, was Nicholas Sparks. Nicholas Sparks wrote The Notebook. He recently did. Oh, I forgot that one that came out, but he does Dear John. He does, of course, like a lot of movies. A lot of his books been adapted into movies. So I always read Nicholas Sparks' acknowledgments pages in the back of his books. Who he was thanking And half the time I would Google those people. So most of the time they were his agents, his managers, and sometimes I would pitch to them. And even if I knew that was going to be a long shot, I kind of was like, put it out there, it's
You just
practice,
went for it,
the
huh?
more emails. Yeah, just the more emails you send out, you kind of have to. But I actually wanted to point out people like Nicholas Sparks over the years, what helped was they had on their own websites, they would mention, here's how to get a lit agent or agent, and here's how to, get your book published. So I definitely leaned a lot to authors like Nicholas Sparks on his advice and suggestions he had on his website, how to get your book published. And he always mentioned in his advice, hey, it takes time, don't take a no so serious, don't take a rejection, so close to heart. Part of the process leading the publication is you're supposed to get rejected. You're supposed to get rejected by those, agents, publishers, and it doesn't mean your book's horrible or you're a bad writer. So I think definitely like referring to those types of advice columns over the years, that definitely helped a lot, taking the rejections, not so personal. It was seeing it more as that's part of the business. Any industry you're going to get told no, but doesn't mean, someone else won't like it. That's kind of like the truth. So that's kind of been the whole journey of the publishing route. I think it came to that whole obsession of what if someday someone else can read this, and it's still bizarre. It's published because it's still, behind the scenes.
How do you feel? So today you released your second book, Skeletons.
Yeah.
Yes. How does that feel? Do you feel like it's a release on you, or you've been feeling that for the past few weeks?
Oh, definitely.
In terms of creating, is that today, or has it been when you press upload or you uploaded it to the cloud?
I would say definitely today. It was like a relief. Leading up for the past 2 months, it's been nonstop emails. You're doing a lot of edits, or you're working on book jackets or the cover of the book. So I think the minute it hit midnight today, I was like, yes, it's live. And I couldn't sleep until like 4 a.m. this morning because I wanted to make the announcement. And I was like, I know.
Were you excited? Like, was it excited, or just like, oh my God, that's good?
It was from excitement. And I was also like, okay, should I start working now, or should I try to go to bed? And fortunately, I ended up sleeping for like 2 hours, and then I got up and started sharing.
Did you drink lemonade all through the night?
What did I do? No, I didn't drink any of that. No caffeine for me. So, which probably would have helped. But no, I mean, it was definitely a good relief. It was like, oh, finally. And I think with the second book, it just feels like the right time for it to get released. I don't know if anyone knows this, but a few months ago, I released the first book, Elephant, I think back in June. So last summer. And that was like my first book. So I was so nervous. When it got released, I was like, I want to hide, because I was, we're our own worst critic and enemy. So I get stressed about with the first book, with Elephant. I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's missing pages when people buy it? What if they run out of stock? I was like, catastrophizing it in my head.
Yeah, the whole process.
But with Skeletons, I mean, it felt good releasing it. I think because one is it's definitely, I wanted to tell this side of the story for Maddie, the main character's journey. And I was excited to actually see how people would react to Maddie's journey, with this journey coming to a somewhat conclusion. I don't give too much away, but there's been some talks of continue the story for Maddie's journey. And his
does Maddie continue into Skeletons?
Yes, he does.
He does, and he's the main character in Skeletons also?
Yes, you see new characters in Skeletons, but the book is primarily Maddie's story. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess now I think we can like step into the actual like book itself.
Yeah, definitely.
And actually like go a little bit deeper into these characters. My first question is is this like, is it scary, or is it kind of have like those elements of scariness, or is it like kind of traumatic? What do you think?
I definitely,
your, like, perspective?
I definitely, Elephant and Skeletons, they both deal with a lot of mental health and some type of recovery mode. And I should probably say what the book's about, but the book follows this 14-year-old boy named Maddie. He's grown up without having a father, without a grandfather, and he doesn't know the whereabouts of his mother. And Maddie's sole guardian, the person who's been raising him since he was a baby all his life, is his grandmother, Lucia. And him and Lucia butt heads. They don't agree on everything. And Maddie always feels this sense of like he doesn't belong. He always wants to know the truth about his family. But Lucia's, you always need someone that disagrees with your main character. Lucia doesn't want to talk about, the past with Maddie. So Maddie always has sort of like these
Questions.
these questions, or kind of like these
Data.
states of like dreams, daydreaming. He
Um,
always, in the first book, we learn Maddie really wants to like speak up. He really wants to stand up for himself. In book 2, it gets more into a lot of kind of like the fantastical world, and a lot of the sci-fi and closure with Maddie finding answers about, all these family secrets that he discovers along his way. And also book 1 deals heavily with Maddie being in the hospital. So Maddie's curiosity about his family whereabouts, and hey, why is all these secrets coming up in my family? What is my grandma hiding from me? Maddie is injured actually in the first book, where he ends up in the hospital for about, I want to say 2 months. So it's while he's in the hospital, he starts experiencing night terrors, sleep paralysis, and sleep paralysis, of course, where you don't know if you're woken up or you're still in your dream slash nightmare.
That's a real thing.
So Maddie
actually.
starts encountering with a lot of but Maddie starts to count a lot of like, he starts wrestling with a lot of his own mental health, how he's feeling mentally, how he's feeling physically. And it's because all these family secrets, it starts taking a toll on him. So it's literally, he's trying to find his voice, and he's trying to find his voice, stand up to the people in his life without feeling guilt. And it does deal heavily with a lot of like the mental health community, a lot with like recovery, because we do see Maddie go through a lot of like severe trauma physically and mentally. And that should be, definitely want to point that's definitely like a trigger warning, but definitely check it out. I think, if you I don't think that should stop anyone from reading, but just a heads up, it does deal with a lot of kind of, the awkwardness and a lot of like the pain that, this 14-year-old teenage boy, Maddie's experiencing. But, definitely, I think that's why I cradle him so much, because, I just feel like, you're writing that, it's one thing, but I think seeing people react to the story of someone like Maddie, the character, you're like, oh my gosh, like he does go through a lot. Like I didn't realize how much he does experience at such a young age. So I've definitely, I definitely love this character's death. I think he's like one of my favorites I've written.
So talking about Maddie, I'm going to bring on Fred. Fred has your book Elephant. And I guess he might ask you some questions about the character, and like maybe we could get into that a little more with Fred. Fred, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Welcome.
I'm doing
How are
really
you?
good. Hello.
Good seeing you again.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen. Yeah, a few guys don't know who Natalie. I mean, everyone knows who Natalie is. She's a good author. We have the book Elephant here. I pre-ordered Skeletons. It arrives in 2 days if they scan me off. I'm gonna go over there and just get it with my own hands myself.
Yeah. But, no, thank you so much for pre-ordering
my first question is. Oh no problem. I got this for Christmas. I was planning on it for my birthday, but I wanted you to have a good Christmas as well because of this whole lockdown horror. So I just wanted to surprise you with it.
Oh, I loved it. I loved the video. Fred did a cool shout out with the video. He said, "Merry Christmas, Natalie," and he's waving the book. And I had to repost it on the Elephant page. We loved it. So thank you for doing that. I mean, the team loved it as well. They thought it was really sweet. And
guys, if you're watching this right now, links are in the description. It's on Amazon, right? They can purchase and get it on Amazon.
And Barnes. Yes, Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
There you go, guys. Links are in the description below.
The links are in the description. My first question is, I want to ask you, so Skeletons, I remember you telling me, like, how long did Elephant take you to write? Like, how long did the book take you?
Of course. Good question. So actually, Elephant Skeletons was one book, and I decided to split the book in half. A lot had to do with just because of the length. Elephant's about, I think, like 305 pages, and Skeletons, I want to say it's about like 219. So like a 600-page book. That's a big book, right? It's kind of seen. The only person we can think of that does a long book like that is like someone like Stephen King. So the process of writing Elephant, before I actually divided it, that didn't come until later. The process took, for the young adult version, it took honestly the past maybe like 9 years, just doing a bunch of rewrites. Life happens, while I was going to school, I'd work on the book, here and there. So definitely that's why it took a longer process. And a lot of it was pitching it to book agents and publishing houses. And after, getting rejections, I would look at the book again and think maybe it needs to be re-edited. Maybe I need to make some changes. And the perk side with pitching to agents and publishing houses, sometimes these people there will give you advice. They'll give you, suggestions. Hey, I read your book. Maybe you should fix this in your book, or hey, I recommend you take a look at these chapters. And that really helps. So definitely it's a good 9 years it took about writing.
9 years. I can see, because I'm writing a book, The Hidden Child, I can just see a rejection coming right towards me. Because, my plan is before I print it off and send it to someone, I want my mum to edit it for me. So I'm the one that writes the story parts, and my mum edits it for me, like spelling mistakes, punctuation. She helps me with the whole editing, and I'm always just, as I'm typing, I always think to myself, God, is this actually good enough? But yeah,
that's normal though.
I have to say, it is normal. Yeah, I have to say the book is incredible, absolutely amazing. It has the, even at the back when you read here what it's about, it even has a thrilling kind of storyline which makes people just want to read it to find out what happens next.
And I appreciate that.
I liked Mattie's grandma as well, Luce, and that Lucia, is it?
Lucia,
I liked her as well. Lucia, the cool hospital ad was nice in it as well, when Matty was having night terrors and all that, and when he went home to live with his grandma, that's when the depression kicks in as well. It was a really good ad. The book, in my opinion, I know a lot of other people would have different ones, but in my opinion, the book wasn't really a horror. It was more of an action and thriller kind. It was it was really good.
Interesting. Action and thriller. Okay.
Yeah.
I've
gotten that before. No, that makes me happy to hear, because there's horror elements in Elephant Skeletons, but I don't, without giving too much away about skeletons. But I always felt whenever I would write the book, I would listen to a lot of music that was more epic, stuff you'd hear in the bigger budget films. And I definitely think, I like that, that there's horror elements. I love that you threw in the thriller action, because I always said it's a thriller.
In this case, when he's having these dreams, it's more it's not scary. It's more a battle is going on, or an epic
psychological thing. For sure, definitely psychological.
It's a chilling feeling. A chilling feeling you get. It's if you're watching a horror movie, and then there's just this not scary part, but it's
Fred, for you watch horror films all the time, and you never get
kind
scared.
Odd part. It gives you a chilling feeling.
Who watches horror movies?
Mention one horror film, and I'll just have it in my wardrobe.
I know. Me and Fred are fans of scary movies. We love horror.
I tried to watch It Chapter 2. Definitely. I got anxiety.
Really?
It Chapter 2.
I get funny.
I think that was okay.
And then Midsummer, I got anxiety. I was like,
Midsummer did freak me out. It was a very anxiety-ridden film, but I love Midsummer. Yeah,
I know you do,
Natalie.
I do.
Natalie, if Joey watches, if he watches Terrifier, I can't imagine what he would be like with that. He'd have a heart attack if he watched Terrifier. If It Chapter 2 scared him. Art the Clown would put him out of his misery.
And I showed Joey, I actually have a fun fact. So when I writing, doing edits for Elephant and Skeletons before it got published, I used to put on a lot of Terrifier in the background. Because when I'm editing, it's different. And I'm sure maybe it's the same for you, Fred. When I'm writing, I have to have silence. I'd be listening to music, get in the zone. But when I'm editing, when my editors would send me pages back saying, oh, I had marked spots to look at or to edit, I would always put TV on in the background, and Terrifier was always one of my favorites to go. So I always would put on a horror film. It would be something like The Shining, Scream. Scream was another popular one I would just put. So I'd be kind of watching it, but not really. So, but it's funny you mentioned Terrifier, because Terrifier I just think is a fun film. I think it's because
I've never. Is that the guy with the little needles? No.
He's a mime.
No,
He's
that's
a killer
Hellraiser.
mime.
Yes.
Yeah, he makes no noise. There's actually a part where he tries suffocating a girl with a
Oh, he goes
plastic
like
bag.
this?
Yes. He's a mime.
No, well, yeah, ish, but
Something like that.
yeah. There's actually a part where a girl stabs him in the foot, and he just doesn't make any noise. He just like shows the face, but whoa, Paris, that's
Yeah.
a bit odd. But he
Yeah.
he doesn't make a sound. Like he's so quiet all the time.
Yeah, it's creepy, but it's a B-level horror film, so there's some comedic elements in it. Joe, I think I told you I have a tattoo of Terrifier, Art the Clown.
Do you?
Really?
I think
yeah,
I showed you before you left to Texas, and you're like, "That's so scary." You're like,
yeah,
"What is that?"
it's like a bit. It's a
Yeah,
huge.
he has the little black cat, and he has like the grin. He's known for doing that
Oh,
notorious grin.
If I saw someone like him, there's no way I'd actually go. I'd just be out of the place straight away. I wouldn't stay with him.
He is scary.
Weird.
I know. In real life, I would probably run from him because he does look
All
horrifying.
right, I just put someone on timeout because you guys are saying mean things.
What happened?
This football fan.
No, it's somebody else.
No,
He's
you
just
did nothing
being
wrong.
Annoying. I put you on timeout for 5 minutes. Hopefully.
Oh,
sorry,
so
guys.
you can beat him.
Huh? You can put people
The
like
Shining.
Consider being rude to Natalie. You'll have to go through me.
We're talking about the
Yes.
chats.
Yeah.
People are just...
The chats. I know. I looked. I was
oh yeah,
like,
The Shining.
I saw the notice. Yeah, but
Anyway,
definitely.
I have a
All right,
question.
all of you, listen to me. Listen to me.
What?
You listen to Fred. No, so they're
No, I
being
was
nice. They said they like The
yeah.
Shining.
Oh, yeah,
I saw the good comments.
I'm just saying,
Listen-
anyone even considers being rude
I
to
was gonna-
Natalie or Joey, you'll have to get through me.
See, we got our back
No
up.
one wants that.
I know. I might have to bring in Matty Cat in the gang too. He's just
Yeah.
sleeping
Troll.
next to me.
People just like the troll. I have a question, Natalie.
Yes.
Are you ever thinking, because you're also a filmmaker, guys. Natalie is a filmmaker. She's made several films, 2 this year also,
No.
or last year, released.
Yeah.
Will you create any films for your books, or do you have that in mind where you're gonna maybe script and direct something? Do you think about that? Or no?
Yes.
Elephant.
Oh, that's the dream. I would love to. I don't want to get my hopes high, but I would love to at least direct Elephant Skeletons. But it's another route, especially during this pandemic. As we know, it's really hard to pitch content right now because we see movies not being in theaters for this long and they're streaming online. But definitely, that's one of my goals. I mean, I'd love to at least direct. Would like to think they both get made into movies one day. I actually been told they would probably be better movies. I used to have agents tell me that. They'd be like, this would be a good, better film. Write the script instead. And I'd be like, well, I want to make it a book first, And that's part of the thing with writing. You have to go with your instinct. My instinct always said, no, this has to be a book. If it's meant to be a script, that time will come. So I think I'm glad I stuck with that instinct because, Fred said, people have different opinions about everything out there.
True.
People
Can
hate
I ask you a
Terrifier.
question?
Please, everybody, you will find the right people who will like your stuff.
I love it.
And
I love all of it.
That's key. But definitely, I would love to do that. I was someone I admired, and I actually recommend. Ask your parents first. You guys are under 18. But the one writer that actually adapted her own book into a movie was Gillian Flynn for Gone Girl. Gone Girl's a movie that came out, I think, like 2014. It's with Ben Affleck. It's about a wife that goes missing. But I think Gillian Flynn has like the best career. She writes books. She writes screenplays. I think she just produces. She doesn't direct, but she adapts her own books into screenplays, which I think is amazing because that's kind of rare to hear about. Usually when authors' books get adapted into movies, usually a writer's hired to adapt the book, and then usually a director's hired, to, of course, direct it. But I'm glad to see like a lot of authors are getting a little more control or creative say in their adaptations for their book. So definitely, I mean, that's the goal. I wouldn't say that's a 10-year plan.
But that's like your goal, your big goal,
your
this
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it in a movie.
I'd
fun
love
fact,
to as well.
I would
Fun
love.
fact, what?
You guys should look him up. Joel Courtney. When I was writing the earlier books of Elephant, I was picturing Joel Courtney as Maddie. Joel Courtney's in The Kissing Booth, but he was in Super 8 when he was like, oh gosh, like 10 or 11. So
What character?
definitely Google him.
Wait, what
In Kissing
character
Booth?
from the Kissing Booth? Was he Lee?
Is it Noah? He plays the best friend of the main girl.
Yes,
I think that's
definitely. Yeah, he would be. Yeah, he'd be good for Matty.
He has the look. So I know. I think I tagged Joel Courtney in like an elephant post. I'm like, hey, Joel Courtney.
Better looking.
yeah. Fred's hired.
Yes.
Hey, you're the age. You're close to the age, Joel. Joel Courtney's like, I think he's like 25 now. He's a little bit older.
I'm 14, but I look older.
So guys, anyone out there in the chats, if you guys have any questions for Natalie, now is the time to ask. Any questions about her book, any questions about writing a book, maybe you want to take questions on even filmmaking, because she's a director.
Yeah.
Let's throw that in there. But we'll do that.
I have a question about your book. So when I'm writing my book, I always picture what's going on as a film. Like what would it look like as a film? Do you ever do that when you're writing or even reading it?
Oh yeah. Oh no. When I'm writing it, same thing. I picture it as if it's playing out in front of me like a movie.
Me too.
I feel like I have to get in that mindset because even if it's a character you're not supposed to like, I feel you have to be invested in their journey, right? Otherwise, if the writer's not invested, it will come off as if, the readers will know like the writer wasn't invested in their own character. When I go and edit, just depending how much editing has to be done, because I'll be honest, I personally don't like the editing side of writing. It's such a tedious job to do. It's so tedious. It can be like, you're like, oh my gosh, even if it's like a page you have to edit, you're like, oh, I just want to watch a movie instead.
Editing,
I'm a little more flexible. That's why I mentioned I'll put on a movie. I'll sometimes take breaks. I'll take more breaks when I'm editing. But when I'm writing, I want to be like in the zone without interruptions. So that's kind of how my process has been. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I say to a lot of people that I enjoy picturing it all as a movie, but you're in my book, by the way, Natalie. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
No, you and Joey.
I died in his book. Remember?
Yeah,
Fred? I died.
I killed Joey.
I died by a zombie or somebody who killed me.
No, a demon. So that an old man got beat up on the street by teenagers. Yeah, so this old man gets beaten up, and then a demon takes control of him. But Joey tries getting rid of the teenagers. And then the demon's like, take me back to the hospital now. And then Joey tries getting out a crucifix, but then the guy snaps Joey's neck.
I'm
like, the power of Christ.
Joey, be afraid to watch that.
But watch, I bet you at the end of the book, I'm gonna come back to life.
Honest. Oh yeah, sure.
You're redeemed.
God gave you one more chance, just one more.
That's funny.
Whose end is that? What's that siren? That was spooky.
Oh, it's outside. I'm sorry. Is it loud?
Can you guys hear it?
No, it's perfect time. It was perfect timing. We were talking about spooky stuff, and then it went.
Dude, no, that's creepy. I believe that when you like that's. What if that happens in real life? That stuff scares me.
Joey, we were just talking about deja vu. We were just talking about you dying, Joey, and then we had an ambulance coming.
Yeah, it's freaky.
That's a little weird. That's ironic. Are they
called?
Deja vu or sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is another one, but where you don't know if you're awake from a nightmare. Yeah.
Well, that's freaky.
No, sleep paralysis. It's horrifying.
Very.
I actually wanted to ask Fred, because usually when I was working on Elephant Skeletons, my mom used to think I was weird growing up because I would listen to like very sad music. I actually made a playlist for Maddie. I used to listen to a lot of like Slipknot, Explosions in the Sky, Led Zeppelin while writing Maddie's journey, because I noticed kind of like things that would scare me. I'd always want to like keep like finding out like, well, what is this? I want to get to the solution of it, and that's how I kind of felt with Maddie's journey, because even writing it, there's times I was terrified, or I would be like, oh my gosh, this is like heavy. I gotta go like watch a comedy film. Do you ever feel like that, Fred, when writing right now? Especially like times you're like, oh, whoa, that was a dark scene, or that was like a dark theme going on in the project.
Yeah, I do sometimes get that. Like, normally for me, while I'm typing, I listen to just like sound effects kind of music, like just waterfalls and like music behind that. And even when that's on, as I'm typing a dark scene, I then have a feeling like, oh, that was a bit too far. I need a break, and then I just just watch funny YouTube videos.
Yeah, and I do the same. YouTube helps a lot. Or what is it? Just putting on something on Netflix or Hulu, HBO. I definitely think that's something I recommend to all writers too, or even if you're a filmmaker, you want to produce or direct, you have to have kind of that outlet to, definitely, de-stress, whether that's physical activity or if it's something like, watching YouTube videos. Because especially when you're dealing with heavier content, you're like, whoa, I need to take a breather.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys in the chat don't actually know, Natalie Halloween at Fred's. So Joey and Natalie were at the opening scene of Halloween at Fred's, and I introduced her book. So I basically mentioned
your
her.
video.
Yeah, in Halloween at Fred's, the movie, you and Natalie, it was the bit with you and Natalie reading the book. And I was like, this isn't fair. Joey gets an interview with everyone. And then I showed Natalie's Instagram and I mentioned all about the book just because I was inspired even back then. And I still am now. It's so incredible that I actually get to talk to you, because being a filmmaker is all I want to do when I grow up. I want to write books and I want to be a filmmaker. So you're basically perfect for my future. You're actually very inspiring, and I just want to say you should never give up, because what you're doing is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Fred. And I was gonna say too, I mean, I've seen your films. You're already a filmmaker. But Fred's already a filmmaker and author. I mean, and that's something I learned over the years. It's, even if something hasn't seen daylight yet, you're still that writer, you're still that director, that editor. And I know that's a cliche saying, but I think definitely part of the writing journey, or even just any type of artistic role journey, you can get discouraged easily. Discouragement is part of the process, right? There's times where like, will someone read this? Will someone watch this? But I had an old mentor tell me, she said, no, when I was writing Elephant, she's like, no, you're an author. And I'd always be like, no, but it's not published. She's like, yeah, it's not published yet, but no, like, you are, like, you got to stop thinking that way.
You gotta start.
So definitely,
believing.
Fred, you have to go in thinking you're an author, you're a filmmaker. It's just, what is it? It's one of those, it's just, you're growing your audience the more you do it. That's how I see it as.
Yeah.
Learning and doing all that.
Just keep going.
Any final words that you guys want to say?
I do before I get going.
We log out.
I want to say, Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. It was amazing talking to you. Joey, thank you for letting me on. I bet a lot of fans.
Yeah, he requested to be on. I was like, sure, Fred, you could be on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, thank you. I'm
shows
glad
how
you
much
chimed in.
Yeah, shows how much of a good friend Joey is for actually letting me on. But Natalie, a lot of people, if they hear me say this, a lot of people are going to be fuming with me. They're going to be furious. But Natalie Rodriguez, you're better than Stephen King, in my opinion.
Hide. The comments are going to blow. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stephen King's work still terrifies me, though. There's scary stuff.
It does.
To read.
Yeah,
it does.
Especially Pet Sematary.
Well, maybe the Queen.
I was going to mention that. That was the first book I ever read.
Stephen Queen.
Stephen Queen.
Anyways,
that's actually good.
Thank you guys so much, Natalie. Thank you so much for doing this. I really, really miss you. We need to catch up when we're in LA.
Yeah,
we need to go to that rooftop and get some food up there and hang out and stuff.
I want to get some food. Things are reopening over here a bit in LA, so fingers crossed. Cases keep dropping down this way, and hopefully over there too, where you guys are at. It's such, we got to keep writing this out, but we'll get through it. Yeah.
True.
I should get a plane.
Well, thank you so much.
Get a plane over there so I can just hang out with you as well. I should just get a plane over to there.
Yeah. I think you guys can already. I think they're open.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know. Joey flies more than I do. I'm not sure. I haven't flown in years.
Yeah, now you're supposed to be flying to visit me. No, I'll probably go to you.
I know I get scared because, like, you know, they're talking about the vaccine. You're supposed to get vaccinated before you go fly, but who knows? I mean, I'm not sure anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't say bye to Fred. It's okay. I'll say bye to him.
No, he's on. He's on. I think he just logged out.
Oh, it like disappeared.
But yeah, let's sign out, guys. We're gonna sign out
for having me. Yeah,
thank you for being here,
Joey, Fred. Yeah,
no problem.
Everyone who was watching, this video is going to be saved, so it's going to become a video.
Do not delete this one too, Joey.
Send it to me.
I don't delete them; they become unlisted. All right, see you guys later.
Oh, gotcha.
Stay on. Stay on.
Bye. Take care.